All right, everyone. Hello and welcome to another episode of Between the Chords. Today we are going to talk about Spiritbox. I'm your host, Practical.
Danny boy in the house.
And it's Rex.
Today we decided to talk about Spiritbox. They are a Canadian band from Victoria, British Columbia. They play a lot of metalcore. They play a lot of new metal. They play a lot of death metal. They mix it up. They do a lot of different things. Their influences wane anywhere from Beyonce to Deftones. So we'll get into all that though.
Bring me the horizon.
Yeah, Bring Me the Horizon
very,
as well.
They're so like different, but yeah.
So today we're going to talk about both of their albums, their debut album Eternal Blue and their sophomore release Tsunami Sea, which just came out this last Friday. So yeah, let's get into Spiritbox, boys. I'm pretty stoked to talk about this. They're one of my favorite more recent bands. So let's do it. Spiritbox.
Let's do it.
I love this band. I love a good chick singer in general. All chick band, even bigger plus, but a woman in metal that can not only just have a guttural like good scream. Hers isn't too guttural. You can tell it sounds more chest like, which could be dangerous. You don't want to fuck up your vocal cords. But I think she's so well versed and disciplined to where she knows not to mess with that. And then she has like a beautiful singing voice, and it's very complimentary in their style of music because it reminds me of what like Evanescence should have been, but they weren't. Because I can't remember the lead singer of Evanescence, her name. She has a beautiful voice. Amy Lee. She has a beautiful voice. But I don't know, because I never listened to them enough, so correct me if I'm wrong, if she screamed.
Not really.
Or I don't know that they even did that as their style.
Not really.
In the band, but it's usually like the guitar player or a guest screamer or something. Yeah.
But to have Courtney be so dominant in both sides of the vocal ballpark, so to speak, it speaks volumes, and I think a lot of people don't appreciate that. They've been nominated for a couple of Grammys at least. I know this past year she was nominated. There was that mix-up of her on the red carpet, and the girl thought she was Poppy, which I think is so damn funny. Like, if I'm going to be on the red carpet, I'm going to know who I'm trying to interview. I would hope that I know what they look like and stuff like that. So they're definitely getting more recognition, which I really like too. I hope that this new album, Tsunami Sea, which is fantastic, kind of elevates them to another level. I feel like they would have been a band that would have been on like Ozfest if they still did that, because you see them still at a lot of these metal fests and stuff. I feel like I haven't seen them on anything in a while, but I could be wrong. I really, really want to see them live, though. I've heard nothing but great things and seen nothing but great things on their live footage. But yeah, I definitely dig this band a lot.
Hell yeah. What about you, Rex?
This band is so sweet. Courtney is a gem, in my opinion, because I agree with what Danny said. Spiritbox, to me, is the evolution of Evanescence into a more modern age metal kind of hardcore scene, where they kind of stayed in this metal alt rock, like more mainstream to me style, where Spiritbox definitely dug into, the post-hardcore metal scene, including, a mix of what Evanescence done, which I don't know what you even consider Evanescence. Metal?
I would say new metal.
Like new metal? Is that... metal,
alternative metal, new metal,
alternative metal. Yeah,
I mean, we are on with the new metal king in Practical. So
yeah, so I mean, new metal. Sure, we'll go with that. But no,
let's deal with that. That's fine.
Courtney's just a gem. I mean, Mike, her husband, is also a great writer, a great musician, a great musician. I wrestled a bear once. They both obviously were the main members of it, and that band was also great. So to see them kind of branch off and do Spiritbox, their early stuff from 2017 or 16, I might be wrong. They did an EP. They're just it was 17, just their self-titled. And that was just a taste of what, was to come. And it was great. We sat on this for quite a few years before we got anything new besides a couple singles, right. But it's also her scream. I'm with Danny. I'm really particular on my screamers. Like I love good, and I love people who can do it live. and I've
Mm-hmm.
seen videos of them live, and she murders it. It's kind of like a Craig Owens. Craig
Mm-hmm.
Owens has a really good voice, but the way he screams is so brutal. And he can do the high and the low. And she
Mm-hmm.
mainly does a low, like a mid-range low one.
Right.
And it's great. She's clear also when she does it. Like, I don't have to read lyrics or anything when she
Yeah,
screams.
her like dictation is a lot more understandable, I guess you could
Yeah,
say. Yeah.
it's more she's better at enunciating when she's
There you go.
screaming than a
That's the
lot of
word.
other
Yeah.
people. And I don't know if she worked with that screaming vocalist, you know, the lady,
Oh,
the
I
Queen of
don't.
Screams.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know, because you know, she does a great job. But just musically, I think they're great, and they have like how Practical kind of said it. I couldn't come up with the words, but like a euphoric kind of singing style, like
Mm-hmm.
you know, I don't know, they're a great band, and this new album, I'm stoked on.
The way the music's composed is very dreamlike. I feel like with certain tracks, and
Yes,
even the slower ones where you're like, I can't get mad at that. Like
No.
because she's got such a great voice, I will take 2, maybe 3 on that album. I think that are more slower based songs, but everything else that kind of goes back to what they're good at. You know, that good kind of almost like chugging gent like guitar work that they do.
Mhm.
It's fucking good. It's very good, and it's not super heavy. It's not like death metal by any means, but it's melodic. It's got highs and lows and sweet ass breakdowns. They're a really good band. They're kind of slept on. I feel like a lot more people should be talking about them, and they don't.
I agreed. And Courtney, sorry, Brock, I'll let you go right now. They're just she's somebody who should be highlighted. Like people in this genre who do like women, like you said. It's just guys can't replicate what they can do. Like
Right.
Hayley Williams from
I was just
Paramore.
gonna say, I compare her to like being
Yeah.
Haley Williams of metal. Yeah, for sure.
And that was all I was gonna say. Sorry, Brock.
Yeah.
She just, well, I mean, they're on their way up, like they're. We were talking about it in the car the other day, my dad and I, on the way somewhere, and we were listening to the new album, and he was talking about the way she sings and how accessible they are as a metal band, and I think that's why they're going to go places. They're a lot more accessible to both the female audience because of Courtney and her angelic voice and her ghostly, like the keys that
Angelic.
she sings
That's
in.
the word. That's
Yeah.
the word.
She is really good at that, so she's got that radio appeal, but then the heavier stuff is also for the boys, so you're really getting a great combination in Spiritbox that meets the best of both worlds. And that's I mean, to bring it up, it's part of their influences, and that's why when I wrote up our episode log for today, I cited a particular interview with her from Loudwire where she talks about her influences and questions she's asked, like, your clean vocals, your scream vocals. She gives clear like influences, and she's mentioned things like Tesseract and Deftones and Bring Me the Horizon and Bjork and Beyonce, Amy Lee from Evanescence, as we brought it up, Trent Reznor, Cannibal Corpse, Doja Cat, SZA. She's really diverse. So there's a lot of things that she and the other band members are into. I think I've heard her mention Korn and Limp Bizkit being influences on them as well. And I love that about her because, as you know, and you mentioned before, I stick up for new metal. Everyone loves to take a shit on it. I think it's a really nice subgenre of metal that, it gets a bad rap because of some of the fan base and shit like that. It's kind of like the ICP thing. Like the fans can ruin the actual artist more than need be. And that's kind of not fair. So new metal getting that bad rap is what it is, but I'm a big advocate for it. And you can hear that new metal sound and influence in Spiritbox. And anyone who doesn't hear it is just being purposely, dickish ignorant, yeah, and not acknowledging the sounds they're hearing. But you also mentioned the gent, they got that going for them. They got the metalcore elements.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The cool thing, and one of the things I wanted to say about Spiritbox, them being a new band, but having all those old school influences like that, covering all kinds of different genres, we're getting to hear the end result of those influences in a band, and they sound fresh and they sound interesting. And for the first time, I'm pretty stoked on a new metal band, and I don't mean new metal band. I mean a new metal band.
No, yeah. These guys are great also because, like you said there, or like your dad said, they're accessible. And I've seen other bands try it, like Silverstein. They did their one album, Infinite, or I can't remember what it was called, A Beautiful Place to Drown. And that was their attempt at becoming more accessible. And they did all right. The album was okay. It was definitely the first time I ever heard them on a public radio.
Right.
Right.
But the album itself as a whole was kind of a miss for me. These guys kind of are that perfect blend. Like you said, they've got the radio appeal and then the metal for the boys, and they still have that appeal for ladies because of Courtney and how accessible she is just as a musician. Like they're all really great. And Mike, you know, he does quite a bit of the writing for this and production for them. And again, he's just I don't really know the other two members too much, where they're from. I know both of them are, I think, rather newer as far as the band goes, but Mike is just a great songwriter as well. He's you know, he presents a lot of these ideas to Courtney and they kind of build the rest from there, but it's just impressive.
Oh yeah.
I could never imagine myself being in a metal band with my wife. Like that's honestly, yeah, that's kind of the dream. Like,
that's power move, dude. That's like,
and if I was him, you know, it seems like you were saying, he does a lot of the writing, which is great. But like, dude, I would give her full reins, man. I'd be like, this is yours. Like, you are the reason that we're kind of who we are because of your presence, your you know, amazing talent. Yeah, we're good at our instruments and whatnot, but like, if it wasn't for your voice, I don't think we would be in the position that we're in. So I feel like she should have most of the creative control of this band. If not, you know, I'm sure that they share it, but she's so versatile. She can do so many different things. And she's quite a presence on the stage from what I've seen. You know, she doesn't seem like she just stands there and fucking, you know, screams and sings and doesn't move. Like, she's moving around, she's dancing and shit. And like, she's a good looking woman too. Like, and she usually wears something kind of flattering, and you know, that's always a plus. Like, I don't want to sound sexist by any means, but at the same time, like, hey man, like, when I was growing up and going to high school, I was really into a band called Bleeding Through. And one of the main reasons I love that band was because of their keyboard player, Marta. Super hot goth chick, just hitting the keyboard, just like, and she wouldn't wear stuff like overly sexualized, but like, she always looked good when I went and saw them. And so that was always like a plus one thing when you go see a band like that. But with this band, I feel like she is that focal point. So she should be taking more control and more direction and kind of leading the charge, which I feel like she still does.
She absolutely does. Yeah.
That doesn't always translate into her being someone who can write the music the same way that they're looking for, you know?
So wise, like, vocally, like, obviously I would not want to fuck with her doing vocals because she's telling a story, you know, through a lot of these songs. A lot of it's about heartbreak and, you know, just feeling down and like trying to get out of the shit, and it resonates. It's awesome.
Well, it's kind of like that Fall Out Boy thing. Like, Pete Wentz was the main focus of the band, the front man, but it was Patrick who was the lead singer. And normally it's different, but they split duties on writing and all of that, and it could be kind of the same. She's the front person, but Mike just does, you know, all the writing because it just works better that way. Not to say she probably doesn't write part of it or she's not a great writer, but sometimes other members of the band are kind of just better at something.
Sure.
Well, yeah, and to speak to that, Mike came from I Wrestled a Bear Once, like we mentioned with Courtney, and he was the primary songwriter. And if you know, you listen to I Wrestled a Bear Once, the music style is 100% different than Spiritbox. Excuse me. It's more chaotic. It's more death metal-y. It's more avant-garde. It's very weird. And I love I Wrestled a Bear Once, and I liked them before Courtney joined the band. There was Krista Cameron. She was the original
That's who I
singer.
saw live with them at Warped Tour. That's who I saw before Courtney was with I'd Wrestled with Bear Once all those years ago.
And they were great with her, but she had left the band to have a baby, and Courtney replaced her. And Courtney's on 2 albums, and she's on my favorite I Wrestled a Bear Once album. It was the most recent one I think it was called Hail Mary. That album, so fucking good. I almost wanted to throw it in the episode just because Courtney and Mike are on it, and it's a good little precursor to what Spiritbox will become, but also utilizing the I Wrestled a Bear Once vibe with it, you know. And it's just, I don't know, it was just a really early dose of what Courtney had to bring, and I I love it. Like I said, I showed them to my dad, and then when I Wrestled the Bear Once broke up, I didn't know that Spiritbox had formed, but he did because
That's
I'd
it.
shown them I Wrestled the Bear Once. So yeah, and it was interesting when he brought them over and he's like, "Hey, check these guys out," and I was like, "Motherfucker, these guys are sick!" Like I almost like this more than I Wrestled the Bear Once because it showcases Courtney's voice more. I love that about them.
Dude, I didn't even know Spiritbox was Courtney from I Wrestled a Bear Once when I heard their first EP. Because you can hear it now that you know, but when I first heard it, it's vastly different than I Wrestled a Bear Once. And yeah, like you said, it showcases her actual vocals a lot more. So when I started looking into them, I was like, no way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, it's really cool, kind of the differences. And yeah, Spiritbox is definitely the evolution of what I Wrestled a Bear Once, could have been later on.
It's a refreshing new sound to have a band like this be so good. Because again, we're so used to, all male screaming and, I've always been a fan of like the melodic core kind of screaming, screamo genre. And
Mhm.
so this resonates with me, but it's almost a plus for me, like I said earlier, because it's a chick. Like, and she's so good. Like, she's not trying to be good, and where you're like, oh God, I don't know, like maybe you shouldn't be singing, kind of a thing. But like, she does it, and she does it so well that like it kind of puts them on their own little platform, so to speak. There's other bands that can try to get to that and be something similar, but you can't duplicate people's voices, especially like hers.
There's another one that I didn't care for too much, but it's a female led screamer, and I think it's In This Moment or
I like
think
this moment. Yeah,
huh?
I like that
I
band.
think
Yeah,
No, they're
In This
okay.
Moment.
I didn't latch onto them like I did Spiritbox. I mean,
Mhm.
they're a bit different. In This Moment's quite a bit heavier and a little bit different, but
Mm-hmm.
I latched onto Spiritbox a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, understandably.
It's just like a perfect mix of all these different genres I loved and love.
Yeah, and that's what's cool about them. Like I said, like you get to see influences of that stuff now spawning its own stuff, its own genre, its own. It's not its own genre, but it's like it's fitting into so many different genres in the process of both albums that it's just fresh. Like I said, and I did see a couple of people online calling them stale, and I was like, get fucked. You don't know what you're talking about.
How can you be stale after 2 albums?
Yeah, exactly. And,
You haven't even got they didn't even have a sophomore slump.
At that point, it's like when someone's saying something like that, it's like, well, what do you want?
yeah,
Like,
you can't please everybody.
You're not going to get, I don't know. I'm trying to like compare what it would be for something similar, and there's really nothing similar. Like, what is there not to like about this band? Like, and to me, that kind of sounds sexist. It's like, oh, is it because of Courtney? Like, and it
No, I
shouldn't
don't
be
think so.
because but like, what's stale about it? Then?
It is, but not in that way. Like,
no, yeah,
The same as any lead singer of any band.
She's an extremely important element to their sound, and without her, they wouldn't be Spiritbox.
right.
So, and that's important, and they've already carved that out. So that's actually pretty cool. But yeah, so let's get into the albums. Let's start talking about them. Let's talk Eternal Blue, which it's produced by Dan Bronstein and Mike Stringer.
And Mike, yep. I think Mike co-produces both of their albums.
He does. They both do. Yeah, they're both.
Yeah.
They're the same people that do both albums, which is pretty good. And I think standout tracks on Eternal Blue for me are basically the whole album, but Sun Killer, Hurt You, fucking Yellow Jacket, Holy Roller, the song Eternal Blue, Circle With Me. Every track, I really dig it. I dig the album and its sound and the highs to lows, the soft songs, the heavy songs. They all work and they flow together so well. And yeah, I just think this album is killer. And for me, like I said in the side episodes, we can do the ratings, and I give this album a 10. Like, I love this album. I've been listening to it all week, actually, in preparation for the new album. And it just reminded me how much I love it. So, absolute 10.
Hell yeah.
I would probably give it an 8, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's because after listening to the new one as much as I have, I mean, that's pretty much all I've been listening to is that new one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it being a bad thing that I'm rating it lower, but it's just you can see that they're trying to figure it out still with this one. And I love the fact that they released all these other singles and stuff in between because it kind of showed that they were still kind of trying to work on it and trying to figure it out as a whole. But it's still a great album. Honestly, all the tracks you named are like all the ones I like. It is. I wouldn't say for me it's a front to back. Maybe I need to listen to it a little bit more, but I'm not, dissing this album by any means. But I just like the new one so much that I kind of have to give this one a lower rating, but it's not by much. So like 8.5, I would say.
Oh yeah, it's still a solid, respectable rating.
No, yeah, I think this album's a 9. It doesn't get a perfect 10, not for any reason more than I wish there was a lot more screaming in this. I'm like I said, I'm a huge fan of her screaming. It's kind of my biggest complaint on Chiodos as well. Is like I wish he screamed a lot more because I love his scream. But anyways, it's not really a negative, but it's just it leaves me wanting more. Like on this album, they don't really have a song that's straight just her screaming her whole way through, which isn't a bad thing, but I do wish that was there.
Right.
But with that being said, the first 5 songs on this album are just killer. To open it with Sun Killer, literally killer from start to finish. I don't know who Sam Carter is, but he's on Yellow Jacket. He does the second verse, and he's an awesome feature. They really use him in a good way. I'm weird with features on bands because a lot of times they'll throw them in for like 4 seconds.
Right.
They say 2 lines and that's the feature. And I'm like, dude, I don't know if it's a money thing like with rappers, but either way. But Eternal Blue is a great song. Constance. Most of this album is great. But it gets a 9 from me. And even though her screaming is great in this, the next album, it's so on point. I almost thought they brought in another screamer. Because like this, you could hear like I said earlier, kind of the like the way she sings kind of translates into her screaming, and you can tell. But in this newer album, it's so much more brutal to me. Like not in a crazy amount of way, but enough to where I couldn't tell it was her anymore. I thought maybe they got somebody else or something like that, or one of the other members stepped up and took some of the screaming parts so she didn't have to strain so hard or anything like that. But nope, it's her. I made sure I looked it up, and I asked Brandon before we started this, and I looked it up, and yeah, she still goes on. So either way, this is a 9. I think this is a great album, start to finish.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Oh, what does Brandon think?
Let's ask him.
Oh no, folks, he's not with us tonight. It's too bad because he's literally one of the people that got me into this band. So isn't it ironic? Don't you think?
I don't think he's here.
Sam Carter is a member of the metalcore band The Architects.
Oh, Architects. Okay.
Yeah,
I like them.
So Tsunami Sea came out Friday, just over the weekend, basically. It
was
finally pretty late release on Friday too. I remember waiting for it on Spotify, and it made me wait till like 6 p.m. on Friday, which was crazy. But
no, it was 9 because I was waiting too.
It was 6 p.m. for me. It was locked in after I got up.
You're getting all these perks, man. You don't get ads when you watch Raw. Like what the fuck, man?
It being locked on Friday till 6 p.m. is not a perk when it came out Friday. It should have been like...
I understand it came out on Friday, but I couldn't listen to it until 9 p.m.
On Friday?
So that's yes.
Oh, I see. I thought you were talking about Thursday, because most of the time it's Thursday at 9.
Maybe you should have pre-saved it then.
Maybe that's what it was. No, I didn't get it on Thursday then.
Yeah.
I had it pre-saved, but I couldn't listen to it yet.
Yeah, it wasn't letting me, but it didn't matter. I had it coming on vinyl anyway, and I gave it a listen and shit like that. So I listened to it as many times as I could over the weekend and with everything that was going on. So I got it in there at least 4 or 5 times, and I think it's awesome. I've been listening to Soft Spine for weeks in preparation for the album because I think that song is so sick.
Song is hella sick.
But yeah, I really like it, and I think it kind of answers the question that Rex was talking about the screaming. It's got a lot more of it than the first album. So, and I think the fans wanted that. I've seen a lot of people say that online. They love her scream, they love her singing, and they wanted her or the band to find a better way to blend the two. And I think Tsunami Sea took that feedback and kind of nailed it. So, yeah, I give this one a 10 as well. I really like it. It's just fucking the band is just sick. Like I said, they really don't disappoint right now.
Oh yeah, this is a solid 10 for me as well. I like Black Rainbow, Keep Sweet, and Crystal Roses are my ones that pop out for me. Yeah, no, I agree with everything you said. She came out full force in this one, and it shows. And that's why I give this one obviously more of a higher rating, because I feel like they've really kind of grasped, the sound that they want and what she wants to do and how she wants to handle it. And some of the songs are a little questionable. I could see for some people. What's the one big single? No Loss, No Love. That whole little like drum and bass breakdown or whatever when she's like speaking is, I think it's fucking sweet, and the music video just helps with it immensely. But I could see like people hearing that and kind of not understanding what they're doing. But I like that they're maturing and they're doing different things and they're trying new things, and I think it sounds great. This is a tenor for shout.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Drum
this
roll.
is a 10 for sure. 10 for sure. Spiritbox is kind of it reminds me of We Came as Romans, but kind of reverse how they structure their songs, where Courtney sings a lot of the choruses in that kind of angelic sound, where We Came as Romans does it mainly in just their choruses. I don't know, Spiritbox kind of is the opposite of them. Like, they flip the way they do it, and it makes it more reachable to the audience. And I think they do a great job at it. And yeah, again, like I said earlier, her scream is, she either took a different approach, because she's been screaming for a long time. But I'm guessing in this one, yeah, she took a different approach, probably was listening to a lot heavier music, and probably worked a lot more with a vocal coach about it. Because yeah, her screaming is on point. It's still very clear. But it's a lot more aggressive, a lot meaner. And yeah, nope. A lot of these songs, Soft Spine, yeah, that song has been out for a while, and it has been so sick from the start. A Heaven with Two Faces, that song's friggin' sweet. But this whole album just nails it, and I'll be probably bumping this for the next 3 weeks, and forever on. But mainly the next couple weeks, I have to make room for Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah, well, at least it's and if new music comes.
Yeah, new music, but man, Nine Inch Nails is going to be a tackle. So I'll be listening to this mixed in with Nine Inch Nails.
There you go.
Because this album is so sweet.
Hell yeah. So is Nine Inch Nails. Should be a nice little journey for you.
We'll see.
Yeah, so Spiritbox is made up of Courtney LaPlante. I'm sorry if that's not how you say that shit. Josh Gilbert, Mike Stringer, and Zeph Rosenberg. Again, they're a Canadian band, doing their thing, going up in the ranks, becoming some hot shit.
Nickelback. I said only Canada produces great music. Nickelback, Rush, Justin Bieber.
I love that you led with Nickelback. That's my favorite thing.
He has to fight the hate on them. He's like the forefront.
It comes, and it's coming. We're going to talk a lot about my boy Chad Kroeger.
You got to get a shirt that says "I'm taking Nickelback back."
Hell yeah, I'm taking my Nickelback. I like that.
I'm taking Nickelback.
They definitely don't deserve all the hate they get, but
no, they don't.
They are middle of the ground for me. I don't think they deserve the hate. I like them, but I don't think they're that great.
I wouldn't even go so far as to say I like them. Like, I like their first 2-3 albums, and I like that they've changed up their style here and there, but like, they've never been my favorite band in the world. But just the unwarranted hive mind bullshit hate that band gets is so off-putting and lame. It's like you're trying to hate this band because you think they're lame, but all you're doing is being way lamer by trying to make it like a meme and a thing to do. Like, you suck. Like, get real. That band knows how to write good, clean alternative rock songs.
This photograph.
Sometimes that's just what you need.
Look at this graph.
I like that.
Nickelback is probably no different than like Michael Bay. They're a necessary evil, That's how you got to look at that.
Someone once described Nickelback to me this way. They said it's like Chad Kroeger went on YouTube and watched every popular band and copied everything they ever did and just made it his own. He's like, oh, yeah, they like this from Papa Roach. Okay, I'm going to write it like this. Oh, wait, I like this. And
Bro, say what you did. How you remind me? Nobody can make a song like that again.
Hey man,
It's
Heaven's Gate
Somebody
won't open up for me.
Say sorry.
all right,
Oh,
ladies
man.
and gentlemen. This has been Nickelback. I mean,
Nickelback.
Spiritbox.
Oh,
It's ladies and gentlemen, it's gonna be Nickelback.
it's
eventually.
Chad LaPlante.
Chad LaPlante, dude.
Check out both their albums if you haven't already. Eternal Blue and Tsunami Sea. They're both great records, and obviously the latter came out 2 days ago. So actually, it'll be
Check
a
'em
week
out.
after this episode's aired. But check it out. Let us know what you think. We're waiting for those replies out there.
Come on, man.
Hell
Courtney can LaPlante on me.
yeah. This is your boy Practical.
Danny boy.
Rex LaPlante.
You wish you were Rex LaPlante.
You're gonna get Mike Stringer after you, dude. He's gonna kill you with his guitar.
He's gonna
Killed
string
by-
you up.
Killed by the man who's with the goddess. What can I say?
He's gonna start a new band called I Wrestled a Rex Once.
Or no, it'd be I beat the shit out of a T-Rex once.
Yeah.
It'll be me on the ground all fucked up.
I like that album.
All right, we'll catch you next week.
Bye.
Bye.